You're watching Drive the Lightning, the positively charged EV channel.
Okay, we're with Jeff the Ninjineer. You should check out his channel. We'll put a video of his at the end and go check out the Ninjineer because Jeff, unlike us, actually does research and shares facts about electric cars, including the Aptera solar powered EV, which is why we have him on to talk today. Jeff, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on. This is a fantastic privilege, and I appreciate you guys.
All right, first question, where do you live and how jealous are you that you don't get to live in Michigan?
Oh man, so I am married to a Michigander who constantly reminds me how amazing the state is. Every time I've gone, yeah, it's been a delight. But I am from Oklahoma and am currently living in Colorado. So yeah, beautiful mountains, but nothing like the city. So
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard Colorado is like the second most beautiful state, though, in the
We've
United
heard it's
States.
the
We've
most
heard.
beautiful, but we don't believe it because we live in Michigan.
Right.
see, that's what I'm saying. Michigan's
Hard to
got a lot
compete.
of great qualities.
Okay, we want to talk to you about Aptera, although we love this subject. We want to talk to you about the solar powered electric car, which, as I understand, you've pre ordered one and you've invested and you're on the accelerator plan, right? So you'll get yours in the first 2000, is that right?
That is correct. All of the above. Yeah, Aptera is one of those things that, uh, well, I've mentioned on my channel before that I am like a hardcore Honda fan, like to the point where it's like I saw only Honda cars in my dreams. Like I didn't, oh, Ford's whatever, GM's whatever, Toyota's whatever. It's about that Honda, right? So, I initially heard of Aptera through a video by a guy named Two Bit Da Vinci.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I love him.
yeah, he
Yeah,
is a fantastic guy.
yeah.
I met him once
Oh,
and it was
cool.
for like 5 seconds. Anyway, so watched his video on Aptera and I just kind of looked into the company. It took me all of 4 minutes before I was like, okay, Honda might need to get kicked to the curb here because these guys are a little amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the longer I sat down, longer I researched, the more I looked into the company's financials and all that kind of stuff. The management team, I was just like, okay, they're doing something truly groundbreaking, and I can't not be a part of it.
Is there like a key feature that led you there? I mean, is it the solar, the efficiency, the three-wheeled? Is there one thing that was the first spark, like this is something different?
So honestly, the first thing that actually tipped me off to Aptera being something truly special was the management team.
Mm.
Every time I saw an interview from them or I got to interact with them through the Republic page, which is not Republic, what was it? Yeah, it was Republic page where they
Oh, the
answered questions.
crowdfunding page, you mean?
Yeah, crowdfunding
Oh,
page where they
okay.
talked about the vehicle and I got to ask them questions and whatnot. The more I talked to them, the more I was like, dude, they're on this in ways I was not ready for a startup to be on this. They're like, they're like they feel like a put together company and they're
Mm.
not even really started yet. So yeah, that it was the interactions that really got me into the company, but the efficiency of the solar panels, all that kind of stuff was kind of like what kept me in. So the management introduced me to it, got me interested, and then the engineering and the cool stuff about the vehicle just kept me in.
Oh, wow. Cool.
What's the number one coolest thing about Aptera?
Ooh, good question.
So it's funny because I asked Chris Anthony a question that was similar to that. What was the best feature that he doesn't get to talk about much? And it was the cooling system. I'm gonna have to default and say the same thing because the more I learn about the cooling system, even though it's not necessarily done or able to be spoken about at length, but the more I learned about it, the more I was like, yeah, this is like it's not even it doesn't even work the same way you think a regular channel-based cooling system would work. It's crazy. Like it's fantastic.
So, Jeff, you have mentioned before on your channel that the launch edition specs are not necessarily what would be perfect for you for Aptera. So,
Mhm.
what's your perfect Aptera spec'd out like?
So I still have like even though I have the accelerator slot, I have a reservation for the 1,000 mile range vehicle.
Oh,
That is mostly because by the way, 1,000 miles noir.
Noir.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
That's our
So
color too. Yeah.
the black version. But yeah, so I picked that particular version for two reasons. One, We do a lot of road trips back and forth to Utah. My wife is an actress and she gets jobs every now and again, commercials and whatnot. But anyway, she takes road trips because it is way less expensive than flying. And we tend to just go full on 9 hours there and 9 hours back and stay in the state for maybe an hour or so while she's doing whatever job it is. So it's just a great vehicle for getting back and forth there. And if I have the range to not ever have to charge, that just makes the trip that much faster. So yeah, 1,000 mile range was perfect for me just because we travel so much.
Would you still
Nice.
do like all three motors, or would you do just the front wheels, or what do you
All
think?
three motors. Yeah, it
Might
just
as well. Yeah.
yeah, just for traction and whatnot over the mountains. Because from Colorado to Utah, there's like a full-on mountain range, and occasionally they have snow up there. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to drive around the mountains, which is another 3 or 4 extra hours. So,
I just pictured you pulling up to a red carpet at one of your wife's releases and opening up the Aptera doors, lights flashing.
Click, 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 click.
You know, that's going to be awesome. Jeff, we want to put you on the spot because right now you don't drive an EV. If you had to buy an EV today, or if you had to buy a new car and it was going to be, well, first of all, if you had to buy a new car today, would it be an EV?
ooh, so because I've kind of dabbled in the EV space, I've had a lot of opportunity to drive EVs, and the more I drive them, the more I love them. Like, I can't imagine myself buying another ICE vehicle because I've driven a lot of EVs and had really good experiences. If I were to get a vehicle today, it would be probably a Model 3, like
Oh, yeah.
preferably the Model 3 refresh. But yeah, just because they're head and shoulders above everybody else technologically, the motor efficiency, that kind of stuff. I just like as cutting edge a bit of technology as I can get, which again, Aptera fits perfectly into that category.
So if you're familiar with Jeff's channel, The Ninjineer, he has often given us lots of updates on different startups and different EV companies and things that he's keeping an eye on. What are you watching right now to get a preview of what's coming up soon?
Oh man. So there's a couple of things that I'm looking at specifically, but to kind of dissect how I came to those conclusions, I tend to kind of lead into where I my head is at when it comes to investing in the first place. In general, when I'm looking for a company to invest in, the first thing I look for is the leadership of that company. If the leadership seems competent and capable, then automatically that kind of puts the company on my radar. And as I look through their financials and things of that nature, I kind of uh, discern whether or not they're making more than they're spending or what have you. And that kind of colors my view of the company. With startups, it's a little bit different because they're technically not making money, but their ability to raise money from other sources, investors, and things like that kind of supplements that income situation. So, with that said, I tend to stick to the automotive industry because that's what I've known for the longest. There's a company that was covered by Taylosive some time ago called Tello Trucks. Um, Tello is another fantastic company led by fantastic folks with enough capital coming in to potentially get them to where they want to go. It also helps that just like Aptera, they're very capital efficient and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of companies out there that I research, but the ones that I'm most confident in recommending tend to be automotive related.
Good. So
Nice.
what about as like, there's a cat. I gotta get.
Yeah. This is a good time to do the disclaimer that this is not investing advice or
Absolutely.
financial consultation. This is just our information.
But as a
Oh, yeah.
fan, what EVs startups are you looking at? Are you keeping an eye on Fisker, Canoe, Lucid? I know you had a ride in a Lucid. I watched that video. Who else? Rivian. Are you watching these guys as they go along?
So because I am from Oklahoma and Canoe has one of their factories based in Oklahoma, I watch them really closely as well. I am really, really pulling for Rivian, but they're kind of hurting right now from a financial perspective. So it's like I hope they can pull through, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if they make it, it'll be because they completely alter the baseline of what they're doing. And I don't see that happening yet.
Mm.
Or Is the potential there for it to happen? Maybe. I don't see that right now though.
Okay. You know, here in Grand Rapids, we were the first city to get in Michigan to get the Amazon delivery trucks by Rivian. And you
Mhm.
just see those all day, all the time. I mean, there's
Everywhere.
hundreds of them just in our little city. And they're impressive. They're quiet, and the drivers like them. I talked to the drivers. So that's the interesting part of their business. It's not just a pickup truck, not just a SUV, but that commercial side, which was because of a big investment exclusive to Amazon, but is not anymore. So they can, in theory, make these for FedEx, UPS, DHL, whatever. So it'll be interesting. I'm with you. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with them. Have you looked into Fisker at all? Not as a business prospect, but as a company, because they're about to come out with the Pear, which will be a smaller car, and the Alaska, which would be a
Mhm.
mid-sized pickup, which we think a mid-sized pickup would be a big deal, but in our state. Any thoughts at all on Fisker?
So as far as Fisker goes, I have been kind of tipping in every now and again, like, oh, let me check in on them this week. Let me check on them a month from now, that kind of thing, because a lot of their hangups or a lot of their tendencies to need to improve are revolving around the product itself, like mechanical stuff is failing,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
uh, the devices in the vehicle aren't working the way the clients expected, the customers expected, that kind of thing. I see a lot of reviews of their products that they have a good base, but there's enough room to improve that I'm not terribly interested in that company until they've kind of ironed out some of the kinks.
So this brings me, I'm glad I asked these questions and got these answers because now it brings us all the way back to Aptera. So Aptera is at almost an empty factory floor part of the business, with lines
Mhm.
painted out where production will happen. And it seems like the biggest part of production at the moment will be in Europe and Italy, shipped over for final installation. So, as someone who's actually invested real money and put a lot of time in to Aptera, what gave you that confidence to say, okay, Rivian, who's got thousands of vehicles on the road, I don't know if they're going to make it, but I believe in enough in Aptera to actually put real money in. How does that? You explained a little bit about like the people at the top and stuff, but better than most that startups are terrifying, and most startups fail, and startup car companies usually fail, and yet here you are, all in on Aptera. So
Right.
help the audience have your confidence if you can. Without, of course, it's not
Um,
financial advice, but just your
yeah.
your
So
opinions.
Just your thoughts.
from everything that we're mentioning, not financial
Yeah.
advice, I got to give that disclaimer because it is extremely important. And I got like a ding on my channel one time. They're like, "Hey, are you sure you wanna?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that's why people are saying that stuff. Anyway,
Mhm.
so
Yep.
essentially, what gives me the most confidence about Aptera is the how they use their capital.
Oh, okay.
The the Rivians and the Lucids and those traditional car company formatted businesses tend to have a capital usage to match, I guess you could say. So hundreds of millions of dollars to develop the platform, another 100, $200 million to get the body and stuff put together, the lighting fixtures, deals with other suppliers. And at the end of the day, you're going to end up spending uh, 700 million, even up to $1 billion in some cases. And so all of that money, if it produces a product that is less than ideal, or if it doesn't sell, then you've lost $1 billion. What gives me confidence in Aptera is that they've spent 80, 90 million, something like that, on the production and the engineering of this vehicle. That is almost a full order of magnitude less
Mhm.
than most other car companies. And so with being that efficient in your capital, it gives me a lot, like I'm a penny pincher. I am a very frugal person. And so seeing another company out there that believes that, hey, maybe I shouldn't throw $100 million at something that might only need 15 million or something, that's reassuring in and of itself. But just capital usage is one of the most vital things you can um, spend time on getting right as a company. And I feel like Aptera does that better than just about any other startup I've seen, and most definitely better than some of the established companies in the area.
That was the best I've ever heard that explained.
That was excellent.
Yeah, you
Yes,
really
thank
helped me
you.
understand. As you're talking, Jeff, I'm seeing in my head Lucid putting together a whole production floor from the ground up. They've got to build every component of this car. They got to have a very expensive paint room where they can paint these cars. Rivian too, they have to set up massive factories, massive staffing. And wow, you really cleared that up. Aptera, just a few pieces have to go together to make this work. So wow, thank you.
And they have
Yeah,
much less to have to recoup through sales because
absolutely.
their output hasn't been as exponential. We really enjoy your YouTube channel, Jeff. We've been subscribed, I think, pretty much from when you started, and we always enjoy watching what you put out. So we want to encourage our viewers to check out your channel. What will they expect to find when they visit the Ninjineer YouTube channel?
So generally speaking, I do a bunch of news update sort of scenarios. I'll kind of take the temperature of the electric vehicle industry and put it into a video format, and I link all of my sources. I just make sure that, well, one of the things that bothered me about channels that I experienced in the past that do specifically news, they tend to leave out their sources. So I always make sure to, okay, this is where I got this story. This is where I found that. This is the research that I did for, I make sure that I leave that for those curious minds that want to go out and find the sources themselves.
Nice.
I do some sketches. Some are better than others, admittedly. But,
Your reenactment
Of cutting your fingers off, or
oh
of
yeah.
oh man, that was
I thought I was
great.
gonna die. So
First, we were worried about you first for like weeks.
yes, we were worried. We were
Yeah, and then
concerned at
So
first, but when you went ahead and did the reenactment, it was genius.
yeah, that was so funny.
I love that.
Is that
oh
still out
man,
there? Is that still available on your
it
channel?
it's still up there, and I appreciate you guys saying that. I
That's
was
the one we're
literally
gonna link
just,
to at the end.
my wife was like, "Wait, why did you do that?" I'm like, "Well, because I don't want, like, I know that there's people out there that are extremely averse to blood and gore and like
Mhm.
situations like that, and so I wanted to make it funny enough that even though I'm telling an actual story of what happened, it's not like, oh, now I'm going to faint. Thank you very much. Yeah, stuff like that.
So, Jeff, one thing that we found since we've been doing YouTube, and especially since we've been talking about Aptera, is the community that you build in the comments and the memberships and other things. These are some amazing people. They're
Mhm.
really intelligent, really experienced. They know what they're talking about. They end up educating us in our comments, and they're also very encouraging. What have you found so far in your comment section?
Oh man, just exactly what you described. Excuse me. In general, it's just a bunch of really positive, really intelligent, really fun people. They're always ready to say, you know what, that point might not have been as clear as you wanted it to be. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, you know what, you're right. And so yeah, no, just there's a young lady, Miss Monroe. Let's see. Uh, Bob Nuccio.
Oh, right, Bob, he's
Mhm.
Let's
great.
see.
Yeah.
All sorts of fun people comment, but yeah, I look forward to several, like, of all the things that I do on YouTube, but my favorite part is just the comments and just like going through, oh, yeah, what a nice thing to say. What great people, emails, and like, it's the Aptera community is unlike anything else. So
Yeah.
by default, that's my favorite part about doing this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
So the Miss Monroe that you refer to, if I'm not mistaken, is probably Carol Monroe,
Correct?
Chad's mom. Would you mind
Oh,
saying hello to her? Because I'm pretty
not
sure
at
she's going to
all.
be watching this.
Yeah, fantastic. Hello, Carol. How you doing? Fantastic comments. Love the stuff you do. You're fantastic peoples. Fantastic children you got there. Good
Oh, stop.
stuff.
We have to thank all of the members of our channel. Stuart is a new member. Thank you for joining. And we also want to thank everyone who's a part of the Mug Club that's helping us to fund our next trip out to San Diego so that we can see, once the weather clears up a little bit, so we can see Aptera in person.
For the record, the little tumbler that I got from the Mug Club, oh, that thing is spectacular.
Hey, thanks for watching Drive the Lightning with Chad, Sarah, and Jeff, the Ninjineer, and check out his channel. You won't regret it. It'll be worth your time. In fact, there's one of his videos right somewhere in the middle of the screen now that you can go to right now. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being here.